So we're gonna deploy a Tor relay. It's also called a Tor node. So when you use Tor, a regular classic Tor circuit, your traffic is routed through three nodes: the entry node, the middle node, and the exit node. And then it reaches the destination and it goes back and forth through that circuit. So for that circuit to work, you need nodes, Tor nodes. What we're going to configure today is a node that can do both entry and middle positions. Um, an exit node is a bit different because it speaks directly to the destination. So there are different implications and it's a slightly different config. So we'll do it in another video. For now, we'll do a node that can do both entry and middle positions. So what do you need to spawn a node? You don't need much, so you're gonna need a VPS or a home server, office server, if you really have a good config. We're gonna get into that. Otherwise, if you're just here to support the network and you want a node because it's cool and you want to help the network, get a VPS. Uh, if you don't know, get a VPS. So Tor has a page about relay requirements, node requirements. I'll link all the pages in the description. But basically, they have a recap at the end. What you need is, so you need to be able to handle at least 7,000 concurrent connections. So that's where having a home setup is going to be complicated. Even if you have great bandwidth and a good machine, like they're saying on this page, a non-exit relay should be able to handle at least 7,000 concurrent connections. This can overwhelm consumer level routers. So if you don't have a great setup at home, like I said, use a VPS. What else do you need? You need a minimum of 10 megabytes per second on both upload and download, but they recommend 60 megabytes. If you take any VPS, any serious VPS, they should provide at least that and probably even much more. Then what you need to look for as well is traffic limit. So if you're using a home server, you may not have that issue, but if you're using a VPS, you might have a cap on how much traffic amounts you can get, bandwidth limits. So they recommend a minimum of 100 gigabytes, but if you can, try to have around 2 terabytes or unlimited is even better. And then for everything else, it's you really don't need much in terms of system resources. They say 512 megabytes of RAM. Just go with 1 gig of RAM. You'll be okay. Go with 1 CPU cores or 2 CPU cores if you want to be comfortable, but you really don't need much. In terms of storage, you should only need 200 megabytes of disk storage. So system resources, go very light. You don't need much. You need obviously an IPv4 address, ideally a static one, which a VPS should provide. So those are the requirements. So you can just go online and Google best VPS for hosting a Tor relay, because one thing to note is many VPS providers some are gonna be cheap, but they're not gonna allow you to run a Tor relay. Like OVH, for example, they have cheap servers, but they don't allow you a Tor relay. So you're gonna have to find first and foremost a VPS that is Tor friendly. I use the Onion host, but feel free to share more in the comments. This is not a commercial post. I really don't care. I just use them because they do what I want. But I'm sure there are cheaper options. So you can just use so if you use the Onion host, you can go with the Alpha. You got 1 core CPU, 1 gig of RAM, 20 gigs of storage, which is more than enough, and most importantly, you get unlimited bandwidth. So they're Tor friendly, and you don't have to worry about the bandwidth. You can provide as much as you want to the network. So get that VPS or that home server if you can, and SSH into it. So I'm going to assume that you have a basic Linux understanding, Linux command line understanding, and that you're comfortable in Linux environments. Unless you have specific reasons not to, please use, I recommend you use Debian or Ubuntu. Same if you have a basic fundamentals knowledge on Linux. Go with Ubuntu or Debian. They're very stable, well maintained. When there is a package, software available on Linux, usually there is always a package compatible with Debian-like distributions. So here we will go with Debian or Ubuntu. It's usually the same procedure. If you want to use a different distribution, the concepts are going to be the same, but you'll just have to look into the documentation to adjust with the right tools and the right commands. So here we are on a Ubuntu 24, and we're going to do the installation manually. For those who don't want to do the installation manually, maybe you're just browsing the web trying to get a node spawned as quick as possible, there is I made a script, bash script, that's gonna pretty much do everything we're gonna do in this video manually. So you can just download it, read it, understand it, and then run it as sudo as root on your server. It will just prompt you for a few informations needed for your node, and you'll be up and running in 5 minutes. But here we're gonna do it manually because we're doing this for learning purposes. So what do we do? First and foremost, I did it already because it takes forever, but you do an apt update, an apt upgrade -y, so you update your packages list and your packages, and you're gonna wanna run that command once in a while to keep your system up to date. On Debian and Ubuntu, if you install everything through apt, you're not gonna need anything else to update your system to keep your system up to date. So I won't do it because I did it already. So how to install Tor. Before we can set up a Tor relay, we install Tor. Some people will be tempted to do apt install Tor. We won't do it because first of all, I don't know if Ubuntu has a native Tor package. Debian has, but sometimes it's lagging. Not all the time, but it's lagging a few versions behind, and I like to be on the latest stable version. So we're gonna directly install Tor from the official repository. So if, like me, you don't like to read documentation, just start with what they show here and wait to hit an error. That's how I do it. It's the OG way. So first and foremost, we need to install this package right here. Okay, let's check if they recommend to install. I think we need to install GPG as well. So you're gonna install this package as well. I think Ubuntu has it already installed. Yeah. Okay, so we've installed packages. Next, what we're gonna do is, so those were two dependencies to install Tor. Now, what we can do is just simply add the Tor repository to our list of repositories. So, as you can see here, they say create a new file in etc apt source list named tor.list. So we're gonna go with vim, and we're going to create that file, and we're going to add the following entries in the file, which is the Tor repository. That's where we'll be able to fetch the package, the Tor package. So we're telling our system this is where you can get Tor from. As you can see, we need to replace distribution right here by our distribution code name so that we can fetch the right package for our distribution. So to get your code name, you just type this command lsb release flag cs and noble. Noble is the code name for Ubuntu 24. I lost track of all the code names a while ago. So we go there, noble. So good, we have the repository. No, next, we can't update the system yet and install Tor. We also need to install the signing key, to download, sorry, the signing key. So the signing key is gonna allow us to verify that the packages that we're downloading are authentic. They've been signed by the developers. Since I'm running with root, I'm removing the sudo instruction, and that's it. The key is here. So yeah, by the way, I forgot to mention, but be root in your VPS. You need to be root or to have unprivileged, you need to have full privilege on sudo. So you need to be able to effectively be root one way or another. Okay, so now I can do apt update, and if everything goes fine, yeah, see, we can see we fetched the packages list from the Tor repository. Okay, finally, final step, we can install Tor and the keyring. So we go like that, and boom. Here we go. We have Tor installed. Now, how do we make sure that Tor has been installed properly? We check the status, so it should automatically run and be enabled at system boot, so we can see active, it's running, no errors, and it's enabled at boot. Next, we can check the version. It's another way to check that everything's fine with Tor and our path. So yeah, good, that's the version of Tor. And what you can do as well is you can test that Tor, you're able to route your traffic through Tor, so you're able to send traffic through a circuit like we did before. So like we showed before. So I'm just gonna try to send a bunch of HTTP traffic through Tor. So Tor is running on the server, so on the local machine, so I put localhost, and the default port is 9050. So I tell curl is a little tool that you can use to send HTTP requests and get response. So I'm gonna tell curl to do an HTTP request to check.torproject.org/API/IP, and if I get an answer, which I did, that means that Tor traffic can be routed through Tor. So you can see here, the API tells me I'm using Tor, and that's the IP of my exit node. So we're good. Tor is installed. Now we can install our relay, and that's gonna be super easy. We go and edit the default Tor configuration file. If you don't want to use the default configuration file, like the default Tor allows you to create multiple instances, which I think the command is tor-create-instance. Check it online, but you can basically create other instances of Tor, so you keep the main config clean. Here I'll use the default because I don't care. I go to the bottom of the file and I copy paste this block right here, and we're gonna explain what it does. So we're configuring a relay, and what are we doing? Nickname, we're giving a name to our relay. So that's just gonna be an identifier, a public identifier. All of this is gonna be public, at least those three things. So name it the way they do, no space, no special character, no dash or underscore. Contact info, you have to put an email. It's gonna be published, so you can use a real email or a fake email. They don't verify it. If you want to be able to receive emails, if there is a problem with your node and some Tor user wants to send you an email, it's better to put a real email, otherwise you can put a fake one. The OR port, it's the onion router port, so it's the P2P port. It's the port that's gonna allow other nodes to connect to your node and forward traffic. And I think if you're an entry node, clients also connect to you on this port. So the default is 443, and we leave it like that, and we'll have to make sure this port is open so other servers can reach it, incoming traffic can go through. Exit relay to 0, which means false. That means we disable this node won't be an exit relay, like we explained at the beginning. And SOX port 0, we're disabling the SOX proxy, what we just did with curl. We don't need it, and it might conflict with the relay. So save it, that's good. And before I restart the Tor service, because we're basically done, all I have to do now is to restart the Tor service. But before that, we're gonna configure a firewall because we want to be safe. So right now, all our ports are open, which means anyone can reach our Tor relay, but any other service or application we would run will be exposed. So we're gonna install the firewall. That we do that with apt install ufw. So the firewall by default is gonna block all incoming traffic when you enable it. All incoming traffic minus what you're going to add as rules. So that's what we're gonna do before we enable the firewall. We do ufw allow 443 TCP. So our onion router port. Another thing you don't want to forget is to also open your SSH port, because if you forget, you're gonna be logged out of your server and you will have to reset it. Happened to me many times. So I open my SSH port, I open the onion router port, and all I need to do now is to do ufw enable. It asks me to confirm. Good. Now I can do UFW status verbose. Sorry, I'm a very slow typer. And okay, we can see all incoming traffic is blocked, all outgoing traffic is allowed. So that's the standard configuration. And we have those two ports that are open for IPv4, and what you see v6 is also for IPv6. So that's it. Now all we have to do is do system control restart Tor. We have no error. We're gonna check the status. And we're done. Your relay is live. Your relay is live. It's gonna take some time to be integrated with the network. There is on the Tor website, you can look for Google relay lifecycle, something like that. So you're not gonna be fully integrated right away. It's gonna take some time. And one cool thing before I stop the video is there is something called the relay search, and here you can see a listing of your relay and see KPIs, see some metrics, see how much traffic you're getting, and stuff like that. So to see your node, you can use its name, but the best way is to use the fingerprint. So if I do, after I started the relay, I now have a fingerprint, which is like an ID for my node. So if I go to var lib tor fingerprint, see my nice relay, that's my fingerprint. So I can use that fingerprint, copy paste it here, and look up for my node. It's gonna take 2-3 hours for the repository here, for the page to the listing to update. So wait for 2-3 hours, look up your node with that fingerprint, and it will confirm that everything is working fine.